So how does Rippling work? If you're looking for a way to manage your employees and you want to understand Rippling's features and functionalities, specifically on how they can help you manage your employees, then you've come to the right place. In this video, we're going to walk through Rippling's website and also some of the basic features that you can use when looking at their workforce platform and help you define some of the different information you're looking at, even if you're not an HR expert. So let's go ahead and let's kick this off. I'll go ahead and move myself over here to the corner. Haha, I'm looking down. Okay, so we're on the website here on Rippling. You get here, there's a lot going on. You have products, pricings, integrations, the customer experience, all that. But where do you start? Well, before we get into this, you have to understand when you go to products, you're going to see platform, HR, IT, and finance cloud. Exactly what that means, we want to break that down first. I'm going to go ahead and show you a different tab to help you see that. So if you can see here on our board, we have a workforce platform at the top. And then we're going to go all the way through the different product lines, and we're going to see how that works out in a common workflow with an employee. So the way Rippling starts off is you're going to see them talk about their platform first. This is Rippling Unity. The workforce platform is where all the employees' data is housed. So when you're going through the process and you want to look at, well, what am I going to use here? There's the HR cloud, the IT cloud, and the finance cloud. Well, really, these three items are going to be items that you're using or clouds that you're using to manage your employee through their life cycle. When we dumb down the life cycle of an employee, it's really just your recruiting process, then your onboarding, then any changes you make during the time of their employment, and offboarding. So that could be retiring or, even, unemployment, getting them out of there, offboarding them. So let's walk through how this would actually work in real life. So if you're recruiting somebody, some of the products that they have, again, we're labeling this HR cloud is in orange, IT cloud is in this teal, and the finance cloud's here in the purple. Now, these are just some examples. There's a lot more than just this, but we want to go ahead and look at this. So if you're recruiting somebody, the product that you would end up using inside of the HR cloud would be like an applicant tracking system. So that's something you use where you have a job description online and you have multiple people at your company interviewing somebody. You'll keep all your notes and everything in there before they actually become an employee. So Rippling released in 2023 their applicant tracking system, and it is available for you to get. So let's just say you pick the right candidate and you make them an offer letter. Right now you're in the onboarding phase. And again, just to show you like how this works, we're just going over HR cloud. And then after you give somebody the offer letter, again, in the HR cloud, you're going to see a background check. And then in the HR cloud, again, you're going to see benefits enrollment, certain training, say it's like sexual harassment trainings, onboarding trainings you have. And then from an IT perspective, the teal, right, in the IT cloud, you might get assigned apps. So some of the apps that you're able to manage within Rippling are like Slack, say access to QuickBooks. Some of the other things my clients might use is like access to Carta or even like Miro, right? So there's a lot of different apps in their integration system that you can use. They have a huge ecosystem. We can go through that in a few moments. But the other thing they do in the IT cloud is you can also manage an employee's like computers, right? They have hardware and software management tools for you, which is pretty cool. And again, these apps manage the employee lifecycle. So if you're onboarding somebody and certain roles and permissions, they have access to a computer, they have certain apps that they get as a manager versus like say a level 1 employee, right? Then maybe you also get a corporate card. That's purple. So that's going to be more on the finance cloud space, right? So we got those three up there. So let's just say at your company, you're done. Very simple process. They onboard. Now, the only other time they may make some changes is either during open enrollment, or let's say in the first year, you upgraded somebody, you promoted them. The company is growing fast. You want to move them from a manager to a senior level manager. Maybe that means something in your organization, or maybe there's a couple of shifts because you're scaling. Right now, you have a new role and a new offer that comes with the new benefits, new title, maybe even a budget increase, let's say. So then in the finance app, you'll want to increase their budget limits. In the maybe they have access to new apps now because they need to do more reporting, right? And then let's just say that employee ends up offboarding because hey, they decided to go to another company, and at that point you're going to have separation paperwork that will come from the HR cloud. You'll have COBRA paperwork that might also come from the HR cloud. And then you want to disconnect the apps. So because you've let the employee go in the system, you'll want to make sure they no longer have access to the company Slack or QuickBooks or any of the other information that they had. And then also you'll want to disconnect the corporate card. So when we look at this all together, again, you have the workforce platform where you house all the employee data. And in the employee lifecycle, you're going to be managing the employee lifecycle through the HR, IT, and finance clouds if you decide to get all three products. Okay. And those were, again, some simple examples of how you can go from recruiting, onboarding, employee changes to offboarding inside the context of using these three items. So you have the workforce platform, which is Rippling Unity, the three clouds. Now let's get into the website and some of the products so you can see how this works. So now that we're looking at the website, we've got a fresh pair of eyes. Now, when you see the HR cloud, you see platform here. And within the platform, you can go to these three different areas. But, first, let's check out the platform and go to HR cloud. Go on. There we go. So if you go here, all right, here you go. Onboarding, employee changes, and offboarding. All right. And here's a good example of how Rippling's platform actually looks. It is a very user-friendly platform that we've used for our clients, and we find it to be great. It's pretty interesting. Once you do the onboarding, and if you fill in all these buckets correctly, it gets very easy to manage the whole entire HR process if you do it correctly and it is set up well. So one of the things that we think is very important when you're looking at Rippling in this context is you probably want to look at all of the offerings that they have. I don't generally say that all the time. You feel like, hey, like I'm getting sold a lot of different things, but this is the one product that we feel really ties in a lot of very annoying things that some people don't think about. And it definitely helps the HR team streamline their processes. And part of it is because they have everything here all in one little spot. Now this website is jumping around on me a little bit here. Let me go back. Okay. So you put that in there and then they have global payroll, benefits, recruiting, performance management. They've got time and attendance they released this year, learning management. All of these things are really cool. They even have a PEO service. So, in making your decision on what products you want to work with, it can be intimidating to look at all these things, but basically what you want to do is you want to break your decision down into a couple of smaller pieces. One is you've got all your employees' data on the platform. Then the next thing you want to figure out is what are you doing? How are you paying the people? And what benefits are you having? Especially when you're looking at the HR product. Now, the cool thing is you can just have this as an HRIS system and keep it just for employee management. However, we also want to show you, and I will move myself over here. There we go. You also want to look at how on Rippling you make the decision. And really one of the ways you want to make the decision of who you're working with is when you do the workforce platform and you're looking at HR, one of the main things you want to figure out first is your benefit admins. Like, how are you going to administer your benefits? Reason being is when you look at the way that they work, you have the HR cloud, then you have the payroll systems. The payroll systems down here, say if you're in the US or international, right? This is for a global workforce. If it's US only, you can go the PEO route. But if you go the PEO route, you're going to have to use their benefits. They use Aetna as a carrier. It works well for some people, but their PEO, and they'll tell you this very candidly, they don't write everyone. It's not for everyone. It's for a very like select group of people, and you do have to go through a process that we take our clients through to see if it makes sense for them to qualify for that PEO. If they do, they get rates, and the rates are based on your employees' demographics. You typically can bundle a lot of the products that we're going to go over in a second in that solution with the PEO. So a lot of people like that. But if you're going to go over if you're going to do the payroll on your own and you say you have your own insurance broker, then you can still use the exact same system, but you're going to have all the different selections and products to make. So you're going to want to do I want Cobra administration? Do I want Rippling to help me out with FSA and HSA? What about my 401k? How do I want to integrate that? So there is a lot of decisions, but ultimately, how you do your benefits really does dictate the route you go, whether it's HR and ASO product or if you're going with the PEO. So that is an important decision you need to make along the way. International or global clients, right? Some people have global contractors, which you're able to pay. You also may have global employees. And if you do the global employee route, and their country list is always growing, you can also do global payroll on your own, or you can decide to do an employer of record, which is the international version of what a PEO is. You can also choose just to do, hey, I want to just do PEO in the US and I want to do my own global payroll the way that we do it. Or you can, also just do the US benefits payroll and, decide that, hey, you want to manage all your global employees in the workforce platform for IT and finance, but you don't necessarily want to do payroll here. There's a lot of options you can use with Rippling, which is why we encourage our clients to go through the process with their sales team. We're partners of Rippling, but they're always making updates. So it's really interesting to go through this. So that's why we think it is important for us to, go through all these things with you. So let's look at some of the products that they have in place here so that you can see. Okay, let's go down. So you see here they have global payroll. They have benefits, they have recruiting. These are all little apps that you can choose to put on the system. They have performance management, time and attendance. Not all of our clients have that. You can also have an LMS system, a learning management system, right? If you have employee trainings that you want to house there, it's a great place for it. If you're on the PEO, generally you'll get a lot of these apps, built into your system automatically. Again, you can do global employment processes. This Pulse piece is actually pretty cool. You can do surveys with your employees. You can analyze their feedback. You can create reports. The whole system is really designed for companies that are looking to scale and grow their workforce. And they basically help you keep the data that you need along the way. So a lot of the data that you gather is going to help you out with headcount planning, right? Compensation bands. As you grow, say like you're at 10 people, not that difficult for you to manage that process. You start getting to 150 people and your arms are only so wide, right? As a leader, a finance person, a founder, and at some point you have to have certain systems and processes in place. This allows you to do that, right? You can create all the workflows in here to manage all these different pieces. And one thing I will say with Rippling that's pretty cool is they do operate a lot like a tech company. Parker Conrad is a tech founder. He was the founder of Zenefits and sold that off to another PEO and started this company and was able to build it from the ground up. And there's a lot of things that they do where they move quickly. And one thing I have noticed about Rippling that's pretty cool is they don't generally make the same mistake twice. So this is a really good solution for some of the companies I work with that have they're familiar with technology, they're familiar with workflows, right? They don't necessarily always have to be an HR expert in order to manage this process. I've had great operators do well with this. But if you're somebody who really needs a lot of hand holding, you're somebody who wants somebody to come to your office with a checklist and a hard hat and go over all the safety stuff with you guys, Rippling's probably not the best solution for you. Or I wouldn't say that you should insist on believing that they're going to be all things to you, right? This actually works really well with some of the HR consultants that we work with. And that couples on top of it because Rippling's truly a technology solution and they do offer services, right? HR services, different pieces of the pie for you. However, you want to be very, very, very clear about what your expectation is when people say HR services, right? Is it the technology or is it truly somebody coming to you? Okay. So those are some of the products there. Now the IT cloud, I'm going to go over this stuff very quickly because there's so many things you can get into here. But with the IT cloud, you see they have app management and they have device management. So that's your software, right? You can very quickly get set up with all in one push. Hey, you hire, me. Hey, Steve, you're starting today. Great, I have access to Slack, Salesforce, QuickBooks, Tableau, whatever apps I need in order to do my specific job and role. You can have that all set up for me on day one. Also, you can have some remote workforce. Rippling will actually manage the devices for you. So if there's like a company computer, laptop, cell phone, some hardware that you need, right? They'll actually send all that stuff out for you. And look, once offboarding happens, or if there's an upgrade or any issues I need to have, they have a whole support team that will help you out. It's almost like having like the Genius Bar too. That's been some of the feedback from our clients on that side. So the IT cloud is very helpful for those two areas. The finance cloud. Now, this is pretty cool. You can actually manage corporate cards, expense management, do global payroll for everyone. We have a lot of clients that are international. US might be their second or third country that they're coming into. You can also do headcount planning and bill pay. So the bill pay piece is not quite out yet. It is coming soon. I heard it should be out 2024, pretty much full steam, but that's going to be a cool feature for a lot of people because a lot of the bills are related around, people. So when you look at that, you have that. Okay. So when you go into the pricing point over here, you're probably going to be wondering, how does the pricing work? How do we get into it? Realistically, look, when they say Rippling starts at $8 per month per user, one thing that is cool is they do have a la carte, a lot of different services you can use. But generally, this $8 is access to the workforce platform, or Rippling Unity, right? That allows you to get all your employees' data into one place. And then from there, you can decide how are we going to push the data to these different clouds and use them, right? So this is kind of like where I say, you know what, it's best to have one of our Rippling reps work with you. We're actually, as partners, and you can see the partner programs here, it's very extensive. The partners, they do have accountants, brokers, venture firms, accelerators, developers, all that, right? As far as partnerships. But I think that the strongest partnerships are generally the broker and the accountants, as far as service providers that are working inside your system. Main thing being is like accountants, they need access to your payroll if they're helping you manage it. They may need access to how are they going to download this to your general ledger, all the payroll, all the expenses that go along. You might have an outsourced CFO solution that's really an outsourced finance department, and you can do that. Also, IT partners. Sometimes if you have a managed IT service, you may want to have them as a partner or somebody who's integrated in here. So integrations. One thing I will say is this company has so many integrations. It's pretty cool. So let's look at some of the HR ones, for example. And the cool thing is, if you ever need an app installed, it's pretty cool. Most of the time, they will help you out and let you figure out, hey, what app do we need? So Checker is in here, human interest, 401k TPA, right? Guideline, One Medical, Pave. There's 401k and pension plan integration. So you are allowed to keep your 401k. If say you have a single employer plan, you like, hey, we love Vanguard. We love human interest. We don't want to get rid of it for anything. We love John Hancock. We don't want to go through a 401k blackout period. That's cool. Rippling doesn't care. They'll let you keep your 401k provider and you can put it in there. The other thing is they make it pretty easy for you to, check out and see which apps do they have before you even buy the services. So you can just go right here on the app shop, and look. They also have discounts and different people that they have, different partnerships with. You can look at that. And again, a lot of different apps here that you can look at. So, that being the case, let's go back to the website here, the main page. When you look at some of the resources that they have, right, you'll see things here like recipes, support status, careers, all that stuff. One thing that's pretty cool for us, at least, is we like the Rippling University spot, because if you're, say you're just learning the platform or you're new to HR and you need to learn how to use something within Rippling, generally they already have built out a learning module for it and they're pretty quick and easy to use. We can't show our partner program on here. We don't want to necessarily do a full demo. You can reach out to Rippling for that to look at that directly. But one thing we find really helpful is when I get stuck on things, say like one of my clients has a question about, hey, how do we terminate an employee and how do we pull up some of these records? Well, a lot of times I can go on Rippling You and figure out how to do that pretty quickly. If I'm working late at night and I just want to get it done. Also, generally, I can put out a support ticket and someone will get back to me right away. Now, granted, I'm a broker partner, so I do have direct line of access and somebody who fully supports our team. If you come in with somebody who's a broker partner or an accountant partner, you're generally going to be well taken care of because, they're very responsive at Rippling. So, in all, we've gone through the products, right? We've gone through the pricing. We've gone through some of the integrations, how it works. As far as customers, look at these are the different industries that they serve. However, with this type of technology, really it's more about the kind of client that you are in a way. How do you guys operate? How do you work? Because even if you were, say, like a manufacturing company or a golf course or anything like that, it doesn't really matter as long as your people are more tech forward. They don't mind using a mobile app to get their checks. They don't mind going online. If you need somebody to fill out paper forms, honestly, this is something that becomes a little bit duplicative because you'll want to put everything into the system hard code, which could leave room for errors. So if you're a little bit stuck in the past and you want to hang on to like old processes or fax something in, then maybe Rippling is not the best solution for you. We have other partners for that. But I think anyone who's looking for a full suite of PEO services, they're looking for an HR technology provider, I think Rippling really does check a lot of the boxes. And look, I think that also a lot of the people who have bad reviews on Rippling, usually it's due to misalignment. And there has been mistakes that they've made before. However, once we've gotten to the bottom of it, they generally do fix a lot of things. And again, if you're working with our client, like our clients, when they're working with us, we have direct access to be their 911. They generally have a rep, somebody assigned to their account. Overall, the service has been, good. I think there was some growing pains a couple years ago. However, I just see this company getting better and better from a tech standpoint. And honestly, as a broker partner, they make it very easy for me to do my job without having to bother my clients. They make it super easy for me to manage any of the employees that I need to, as far as looking at their benefits, onboarding, offboarding, getting alerts set up, coaching my clients through, how to go through some of these processes on their own when we're onboarding. Overall, they've been a great partner for us. So, if you have any other questions about Rippling, how it works, and general thoughts and seeing if it's for you, feel free to reach out to us. And also, if you do want a quote for Rippling and you want to take advantage of our partnership, feel free to just connect with us. We'll do a strategy session and see if it makes sense for us to introduce you to Rippling. Okay, take care.